Get your snuggliest blanket. Get your softest pillow. Let your eyes get heavy. Let your head get light. Tonight we're going to read some stories from one of my favorite countries, Japan. Japan is a very old country, much older than the United States, and they have famous stories going back thousands of years ago. And let's read a few of those. We're going to read some long ago stories of Japan, and tonight it's translated by Carla Valentine. The first one is Momotaro. Long, long ago somewhere, there lived an old man and a woman. The old couple's house stood between a mountain and a river. Each day the old man went up the mountain to cut wood, and the old woman went down to the river to wash clothes. One day, as always, the old woman was down at the river. When she finished the wash, she looked up and saw a great big peach. The peach was bobbing and rolling in the water. It was heavy and round and pink, and it looked delicious, but it was just out of reach. "Come over here," the old woman called out. "The water's sweeter over here." And sure enough, the great peach began to move toward her. It bobbed and rolled and rolled and bobbed straight into her arms. The old woman pulled the peach out of the water and smiled. She couldn't wait to share this wonderful fruit with her husband. That evening, as always, the old man came home with a load of wood on his back. When his wife showed him the peach, he couldn't believe his eyes. He picked it up and held it in both hands. "Look at the size of it," he said. "Let's eat it while it's fresh." He placed the peach on the table and picked up a knife, but just then the peach began to move. "What's happening?" said the old woman. "It's alive!" her husband shouted. Suddenly the peach broke in two, and a healthy baby boy jumped out. "Wah!" cried the baby, with a voice as loud as a drum. The old man and woman were, of course, very surprised, but they were also very happy. "We always prayed for a child of our own," the old woman said. "He's a gift from the gods," said her husband. "Let's prepare his first bath." The old man made a fire and heated some water. When he filled the tub, his wife reached for the baby, but the baby pushed her away and climbed into the hot water all by himself. "Such power!" The old couple laughed and looked at each other. "What shall we name him?" the old woman said. "Well, he was born from a peach," said the old man, "so let's call him Momotaro." Momo means peach in Japanese. Thanks to the old couple's loving care, the peach boy grew up healthy and strong. Even when he was little, Momotaro was the best sumo wrestler in the village. By the time he was 12, no man in all of Japan could throw him. And yet he was the sweetest, kindest boy in the land. Momotaro was only 14 when he went before the old man and woman and bowed deeply. "Grandmother, grandfather," he said, "I must leave you for a while." "What?" said the old woman. "But where will you go?" "To Demon's Island." "Demon's Island!" cried the old man. "Whatever for?" "To fight the demons," said Momotaro, "and bring back all the treasure." In those days, you see, demons often came to Japan. They pushed the people around and took away their gold and silver and jewels. Everyone was afraid of them. "But Demon Island is so far," said the old man. "And so dangerous," said the old woman. "Please don't worry," said Momotaro. "I'll be home with the treasure in no time." The old man and woman didn't want their boy to go, but they knew they couldn't stop him. Momotaro always followed his dreams. So the old man gave him a sword and a suit of armor, and the old woman made him some millet dumplings, his favorite food. She also made a flag for Momotaro to carry. On the flag was a picture of a peach and the words Nippon Ichi. That means #1 in Japan. The peach boy tied the bag of millet dumplings to his belt, held the flag high, and set out on his journey. He soon left the village behind and started up the mountain. Now he was climbing the mountain pass. Suddenly, a dog came out of the brush. "Arf, arf! Where are you going, Momotaro?" "To Demon's Island, to fight the demons." "Interesting. What's in the bag?" "The best millet dumplings in all Japan." "Give me one, arf, and I'll go with you." "Here you are, friend. Now follow me." Now Momotaro and the dog were marching through a forest. Suddenly a monkey climbed down from the tree. "Kiki, Kiki, where are you going, Momotaro?" "To Demon's Island, to fight the demons." "Interesting. What's in the bag?" "The best millet dumplings in all Japan." "Give me one, Kiki, and I'll go with you." "Here you are, friend. Now follow me." Now Momotaro and the dog and monkey were marching across a wide green plain. Suddenly a pheasant flew down from the sky. "Prr, prr. Where are you going, Momotaro?" "To Demon's Island, to fight the demons." "Interesting. What's in the bag?" "The best millet dumplings in all Japan." "Give me one, prr, and I'll go with you." "Here you are, friend. Now follow me." Now Momotaro and the dog and monkey and pheasant were marching down to the sea. A fine ship was waiting there on the beach. "All aboard," said Momotaro. "We'll sail the ship to Demon's Island." It was a fine day with a good wind. The ship raced like an arrow across the deep blue sea. The dog was rowing, the monkey was steering, and the pheasant was standing watch. Before very long, the pheasant called out, "Prr! I see an island!" Momotaro ran to the bow. He could just make out the high black walls of Demon's Castle. "That's it!" he shouted. "Demon's Island, dead ahead!" The dog pulled on the oar. "Arf, arf!" The monkey held the ship steady. "Kee, kee!" And the pheasant flew ahead to the island. The demons on the beach didn't see the pheasant, but they saw the ship, and they were very afraid. They ran inside their castle and locked the big black gate. When the ship landed, Momotaro and the monkey and the dog jumped out. They marched right up to the castle. "Open up!" the dog shouted and kicked at the gate. "Open up or prepare for war!" The demons pushed against the gate from the inside to hold it closed. But the pheasant flew down from the castle tower and pecked at their eyes. "It hurts!" the demons cried. "Run for your lives!" Now it was the monkey's turn. He climbed over the wall and opened the gate from inside. "Momotaro of Japan!" the dog called out as the peach boy marched into the grounds. The king of demons stepped out of the castle to meet them. He had 10 or 12 of his biggest, strongest demons with him. All of them carried iron clubs. "Who do you think you are?" said the king. "I'm Momotaro of Japan, and I've come to take back our treasure." "Not without a fight, you won't." The king held up his club. "As you wish," said Momotaro, and the fight began. Demons are big and mean, but they're weak of heart. The pheasant flew from one to another, "Whirr, whirr," and pecked at their eyes. The dog ran from one to another, "Arf, arf," and bit their legs. And the monkey jumped from one to another, "Kiki, kiki," and scratched their faces. Before very long, the demons all threw down their clubs and ran away in tears. The only one left was the king himself. He stepped forward and tried to hit Momotaro with his club, but Momotaro jumped out of the way and threw him to the ground. Then he locked the king's head in his powerful arm. "Stop! I give up!" cried the king. "You win, Momotaro. Please don't kill me. You can have the treasure." Finally, Momotaro let go. The king got down on all fours and thanked him again and again. Then he ordered his demons to fill a cart with all the gold and silver and jewels in the castle. They loaded the cart on the ship. "We'll never bother your people again," the king of demons promised. "See that you don't," said Momotaro. And he and the dog and the monkey and the pheasant jumped on the ship and sailed for home. Back home, the old man and woman were waiting for their Peach Boy. "I hope he's all right," the old woman said. "Oh, when will he return?" "Look," said the old man, "here he comes now." Momotaro was marching down the hill toward the village. Behind him, the dog and monkey were pulling a cart full of gold and silver and jewels. Above the cart, in the clear blue sky, the pheasant flew in circles. "That's our boy!" cried the old man. "We knew you could do it, Momotaro." "We're so glad you're safe," the old woman said. Everyone cheered, and the cherry trees were blooming. The Crane Gives Back. Once upon a time, a poor young man lived in a little house in the mountains. His parents were both dead now, and the young man was very lonely. Each day he walked through the forest and collected wood. He sold the wood in the nearest town and made just enough money to get by. It was a morning in early winter. The young man was walking through the snowy woods when he heard something strange. It sounded like a cry of pain. He followed the sound until he discovered a beautiful white crane. She was lying in the snow with an arrow through her wing. "You poor thing," the young man said. "Who did this to you?" He held the crane in his arms and gently pulled the arrow out. Then he cleaned her wing, set her down in the snow, and stepped back. The crane spread her wings and rose up into the air. She circled above the young man once, cried out, and flew off into the clouds. Late that night, the young man was sitting by his fire at home. Outside, the weather was very bad. The sky was white with snow, and a strong wind was blowing. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. When the young man opened it, he was very surprised. A beautiful young woman was standing on the front step. "I have lost my way," she said. "May I spend the night here?" "Of course," said the young man. He invited her in, gave her a seat by the fire, and served her some hot soup. "Thank you so much," she said. "You are very kind." "You're most welcome," he told her. "Please stay as long as you like." In fact, the bad weather continued, and the woman stayed for many days. She helped with the cleaning and cooking, and she was very good company for the young man. He often thought how sad he would be when she left. But then, one morning, she came to him and said, "Please, may I be your wife?" The young man's face turned bright red. "I'm a poor man," he said. "I can't give you a good life." "I don't care if we're poor," she told him, "as long as we can be together." And so they married. They were very happy as man and wife, but it was a long, cold winter. Now New Year's was coming, and they had no money and very little food. One day the young man told his wife that he was worried. "How will we eat?" he said. His wife thought for a while before speaking. "There's an old loom in the little room in the back," she said. "Yes," he said, "it was my mother's." "I want to use it to weave some cloth," she said. "But you must promise me one thing. Never look into that room when I'm weaving. This is very important. Please promise." The young man thought this strange, but he gave her his word. His wife went into the little room and closed the door, and there she stayed for the next 3 days. The young man didn't see her in all that time, but he heard the sound of the loom day and night. On the third night, his wife finally stepped out of the room. She looked weak and tired, but she smiled as she handed him 3 rolls of white cloth. "Please take this to town and sell it," she said. It was very beautiful cloth, as fine and soft as the light of the moon. The next day, her husband carried the rolls straight to the house of the town's richest man, and that night he came home with 3 big bags full of rice. "My dear wife," he said, "thanks to you we'll get through the winter, and the rich man wants to buy more. Please weave more cloth as soon as you can. Think of the money we can get for it." His wife said nothing at first, but then she smiled sadly. "Of course, I'll begin right away," she said, and walked to the door of the little room and back. "But please remember, you must never look in when I'm weaving." All that night and all the next day, the young man heard the sound of the loom. But the sound was different this time. It was slower and heavier. He began to worry about his wife. And then, late in the evening, he heard another sound, like a cry of pain. Promise or no promise, he had to look into the room. But what a shock he got when he opened the door. His wife wasn't there, but a white crane was sitting at the loom. The crane looked ill and weak, and many of her feathers were gone. When she looked up and saw the young man, she let out a sad cry, and then, right before his eyes, she turned back into his beautiful wife. The young man couldn't even speak. "You," he said, "you're—" "Yes," said his wife, "I'm the crane. You saved my life that day, and I wanted to give back. I wanted to help you in return. So I became human. I was happy as your wife, and I learned to love you very much. When you said you needed money for food, I used my feathers to weave the cloth. But then you wanted more money." "My dear wife," cried the young man, "I didn't know. If I—" "My hope was to stay with you forever," his wife said. "But now that you know my secret, it is not to be. I must leave you." "No!" The young man followed his wife to the front door. "Please don't leave. I don't need money. I only want you." His wife stepped outside and turned to look at him sadly. "I'm sorry," she said. "It is not to be." And then, right before his eyes, she turned back into a white crane. The crane spread her wings and rose up into the air. She circled once in the sky above the young man and let out another sad cry. Then she flew off into the clouds, and he never saw her again. One more. This one is called Kachi Kachi Mountain. Long, long ago, an old farmer and his wife lived in a certain place. Each day the farmer worked hard in his field, and each day a tanuki from the mountain and back made his work even harder. A tanuki looks like a cross between a raccoon and a dog. This animal is famous in Japan for playing tricks on people, and the tanuki from the mountain and back was always causing trouble for the old farmer. Today, the farmer was planting. "One little seed, 100 meals," he sang as he pushed each seed into the ground. At noon, he went inside the house for lunch, and while he was gone, the tanuki ran through the field, dug up all the seeds, and ate them. When the farmer came back outside, he saw the tanuki and shouted, "You little devil, get out of my field!" "100 seeds, one little meal," the tanuki laughed and ran off into the brush. The farmer was very angry. He loved animals, but enough was enough. He spent the rest of the afternoon making a trap. The tanuki was good at causing trouble, but he was not very bright. The next morning, the farmer went to check his trap, and sure enough, there was the tanuki. He was hanging by all 4 feet at the end of a rope. The farmer carried him into the house and tied the other end of the rope to the kitchen rafters. I finally caught this bad tanuki, he told his wife. Keep an eye on him and don't fall for any of his tricks. I want tanuki soup for dinner. Very well, dear, she said. When the farmer went back out to his field, the old woman began working around the house. The tanuki didn't say a word, but his eyes followed her every move. After a while, the old woman went into the kitchen and put some millet in the mortar. She wanted to make millet cakes to go with the tanuki soup. When she picked up the heavy wooden mallet to pound the millet, the tanuki finally spoke. Grandmother, he said in a sad voice, I'm sorry I've been such a bad tanuki. I want to do just one good thing before I die. Please let me help you. That mallet is much too heavy for an old woman like you. You can't fool me, the old woman said. I'm not going to fool you, grandmother, the tanuki said. I'm happy to be soup for you and the good farmer. But just once, before I leave this life, I want to do the right thing. The old woman had a soft heart, and in the end, she believed the tanuki. She untied him and handed him the heavy mallet. But he didn't use the mallet to help the old woman. He lifted it high in the air and brought it right down on her head. Late that afternoon, the farmer came back home. He was hungry and looking forward to his tanuki soup. But what did he find? His dear wife was on the floor, and the tanuki was gone. The old farmer sat down on the front step. His heart was broken, and he didn't know what to do. He was still sitting there when the cute little rabbit from the mountain in front came along. This rabbit was a close friend. What's wrong, grandfather? She said. The farmer told her the whole story. Tears were running down his face. The rabbit cried too. That terrible tanuki, she said. Don't worry, grandfather. He won't get away with this. The next day, the rabbit walked up the mountain and back. As she walked, she filled her basket with pieces of wood. She sat down to rest near the tanuki's hole and began eating chestnuts. The tanuki smelled the chestnuts and came outside. What are you eating, rabbit? He said. Chestnuts. Can I have some? Yes, said the rabbit, but please help me first. Can you carry this wood? It's so heavy for me. Gladly, said the tanuki. He tied the basket of wood to his back and started down the mountain. The rabbit followed behind him. Soon she began hitting 2 rocks together. Catch, catch. She was trying to set the basket of wood on fire. Say, rabbit, said the tanuki, what's that kachi-kachi sound? Oh, that's nothing, said the rabbit. It's just the kachi-kachi bird from Kachi-Kachi Mountain. Oh, right, said the tanuki. I already knew that. Soon a spark from the rocks landed on the wood, and the wood started burning. It crackled as it burned. Say, rabbit, what's that crackle-crackle sound? Oh, that's nothing. It's just the crackle-crackle bird from Crackle-Crackle Mountain. Oh, right, said the tanuki. I already knew that. After a while, he began to feel the heat of the fire on his back. Say, rabbit, it's hot today, isn't it? There was no answer. Rabbit? The tanuki turned to look back. He didn't see the rabbit, but he saw the fire. Help! He shouted. I'm burning! And he ran toward the river as fast as he could go. The next day, the rabbit returned to the mountain and back. She was carrying a bag full of red-hot pepper paste. The tanuki came out of his hole and stopped her. Where did you go yesterday, rabbit? He said. The wood caught fire. It burned all the hair off my back. It hurts. I went to get this medicine, said the rabbit. It's the best thing for burns. Oh, please put it on my back, said the tanuki. Turn around, the rabbit said. She painted a thick coat of pepper paste on the tanuki's burns. Oh! Shouted the tanuki. Oh, that's hot! Be strong, the rabbit said and smiled. I'm sure you'll feel better tomorrow. And she hurried back down the mountain. The next morning, the tanuki found the rabbit down by the river. She was building a boat out of wood. Hello, tanuki, she said. Do you feel better today? I guess so, said the tanuki, but last night I was in such pain. That's good, said the rabbit. What are you doing? The tanuki asked her. I'm building a boat. How come? Well, I want to catch the big fish in the middle of the river. Ooh, I want some big fish too. Can I build a boat? Sure, said the rabbit, but you're much heavier than I am. You should make your boat out of mud. All right, said the tanuki. I already knew that. So the tanuki took mud from the bank of the river and made a boat. It was shaped like a big bowl. When both boats were finished, the rabbit and the tanuki rowed them out to the middle of the river. The water was deep and cold, and the tanuki's boat of mud began to fall to pieces. Help! He shouted. Rabbit, save me! I can't swim! But the rabbit just turned her wood boat around and headed for land. The sun was low in the sky when she got back to the old farmer's house. The farmer was sitting on the front step. That tanuki will never hurt anyone again, she told him. The old man said nothing, but put his hand on the rabbit's head, and together they watched the sun go down. Let's stop there. You have an adventurous spirit. You learn new things about the world every day. Get some rest, have great dreams, and go out and explore the great big world tomorrow.